Alright, let's talk about something I know a thing or two about. Hard work and critters that make you work harder. You've decided to get goats. Good for you. They're clever, they're useful, and they have more personality than most of your relatives. But here's the dirty truth that no one puts on the cute calendar photos. Goats are escape artists, Houdini in a fur coat. They see a fence not as a boundary but as a personal challenge, a puzzle to be solved. If there's a weak spot, a loose wire or a latch they can fiddle with, they will find it. It's not a matter of if, but when. Your job, your very dirty job, is to build a fence that outsmarts them. A good fence isn't just about keeping your goats in, it's about keeping danger out. Things like coyotes, stray dogs, and other predators see a small goat as an easy meal. Your fence is their first and most important line of defense. It's the wall that stands between your peaceful little homestead and the harsh realities of nature. Without a solid barrier, you're basically setting out a buffet for every hungry animal in a 5-mile radius. So when you're sweating and digging post holes, remember you're not just building a pen, you're building a sanctuary. You're doing the hard work now so you don't have to do the heartbreaking work later. Now why are these animals so good at getting out? It comes down to their nature. Goats are browsers, not grazers like sheep or cows. This means they're not content to just stand in one place and munch on grass. They want to explore. They want to see what's on the other side of that hill, what tasty leaves are on that tree just outside their pasture. Their curiosity is relentless. They will push, climb, jump, and even crawl to satisfy that urge. They are also surprisingly strong and intelligent. They learn by watching, and they have all day to study your handiwork, looking for that one mistake you made. So, before you even bring your first goat home, you need to think like a goat. Look at your property with their eyes. Where would you push? Where would you try to squeeze through? That low spot over there, they'll jump it. That corner where the wire is a little slack, they'll wiggle under it. The gate latch that's easy to flip, they'll learn to operate it with their nose. Getting the fencing right from the very beginning is the most important job you'll have as a goat owner. It will save you time, money, and the stress of chasing your herd down the county road at 6 in the morning. Trust me, it's a dirty job you don't want. So, what exactly makes a fence goat-proof? It's not just about putting up a barrier. It's about building a system that respects a goat's unique talents for destruction and escape. The first rule is height. A standard farm fence might be fine for a cow, but a goat will treat it like a low hurdle. For most goat breeds, you need a fence that is at least 4 feet tall. For the more athletic types, like Nigerian dwarves or pygmies, who can jump like they have springs in their hooves, you might even need to go up to 5 feet. A tall fence discourages jumpers and climbers before they even get started. Next up, you have to consider the tension. A loose, saggy fence is an open invitation for a goat. They will push their heads against it, lean their whole body weight on it, and work it back and forth until they create a gap big enough to squeeze through, or they'll just roll right under it. Your fence needs to be tight. I'm talking banjo string tight. This means your corner posts and brace posts have to be rock solid, set deep in the ground so they can handle the immense pressure of stretched wire. A tight fence is a safe fence, both for keeping your goats in and for keeping them from getting tangled up in it. The third piece of the puzzle is the spacing of the mesh itself. Goats, especially young ones, can squeeze through openings you wouldn't think possible. The holes in your fence need to be small enough that they can't get their head stuck. If a goat can get its head through, it will either get the rest of its body through or get stuck and panic, which can lead to serious injury or worse. A good rule of thumb is to use fencing with 4-inch by 4-inch squares, or even smaller. This prevents those curious heads from getting into a dangerous situation, and also stops them from using the fence as a ladder to climb over. Finally, think about the bottom of the fence line. Goats are just as likely to go under a fence as they are to go over it. They will dig and push at the base, looking for any gap between the wire and the ground. Your fence needs to be installed so it's flush with the terrain. On uneven ground, this means you need to make sure the fence follows the contours of the land, leaving no significant gaps. Some folks even run a strand of barbed wire or electric wire along the bottom just an inch or two off the ground to actively discourage any digging or pushing. It's all about removing the temptation. Building a fortress doesn't mean you have to spend a fortune. Let's look at some affordable options that get the job done. First up is woven wire, sometimes called field fence. This is probably the most popular choice for goat owners, and for good reason. It's tough, it's reliable, and it provides a strong physical barrier. The key is to choose the right kind. You want woven wire with small, 4-inch by 4-inch openings. This goat and sheep fence is specifically designed to keep smaller livestock contained safely. While the initial cost of the wire rolls might seem high, it lasts for decades when installed correctly, making it a great long-term investment for your homestead. Another option, which can be cheaper up front, is electric fencing. Now this isn't just a single strand of wire. For goats you need a multi-strand system, usually with 5 or 6 wires. The beauty of electric is that it's a psychological barrier, not just a physical one. A goat touches it once, gets a sharp but safe zap, and learns to respect that boundary very quickly. It's also relatively easy to install and move, making it great for rotational grazing. The downside is that it requires a good fence charger and consistent power. You also have to keep the fence line clear of weeds and grass, as they can ground out the fence and render it useless. A third choice, which offers a mix of good looks and functionality, is a post and rail fence reinforced with wire mesh. You might already have an old post and rail fence on your property. Instead of tearing it down, you can make it goat-proof by adding a layer of sturdy woven wire or welded wire mesh to the inside. This gives you the classic, rustic look of a wooden fence with the security of wire. It's a great way to upcycle an existing structure. The cost will depend on whether you're building from scratch or just adding the mesh, but it's a solid, reliable, and visually appealing solution that will contain even the most determined goat. When you're weighing your options, think about your specific needs. Do you have a lot of predators? Woven wire offers the best physical protection. Do you need to move your pasture frequently? Electric fencing is your most flexible choice. Are you working with a small budget and a lot of determination? Any of these can work if you're willing to do the dirty work of installing them correctly. Don't just look at the price tag on the roll of wire. Consider the cost of posts, insulators, chargers, and your own time. The cheapest fence is the one you only have to build once. Alright, time to get your hands dirty. Building a fence that lasts starts from the ground up, and that means setting your posts correctly. Your corner posts are the foundation of the whole system. They have to be bigger, stronger, and set deeper than your line posts. Dig your holes at least 2 to 3 feet deep. Place a heavy-duty wooden or metal post and set it in concrete. This is not the place to cut corners. For your line posts, space them about 8 to 10 feet apart. Any further and your wire will sag. Any closer and you're just spending extra money and effort. Use a string line to keep your posts straight. A crooked fence is a weak fence. Once your posts have set and are rock solid, it's time to stretch the wire. This is the part that separates a good fence from a goat-ravaged disaster. You can't just pull it by hand. You need a tool called a fence stretcher or a come-along winch to get it properly taut. Attach the stretcher to your corner post and the end of the wire roll. Slowly crank it until the wire is tight. How tight? Most woven wire has a tension crimp built into it. You should stretch it until that crimp is about halfway compressed. It's a 2-person job, so grab a friend. One person cranks while the other staples the wire to the line posts as you go. Let's talk about some common mistakes that I see all the time. The biggest one is not bracing your corner posts. A corner post takes a massive amount of strain from 2 directions. It needs an H-brace, which is a horizontal post connecting the corner post to a second brace post set a few feet away, with a diagonal wire running between them to create a solid triangle. Without this, your corner post will lean, and your whole fence will sag. Another mistake is not attaching the wire to the inside of the posts. Always put the wire on the side of the posts, where the goats will be. That way, when they push against it, they are pushing the wire into the post, not off the staples. Finally, a word on gates. A gate is almost always the weakest point in your fence line. Don't spend all this time building a fortress and then install a flimsy, cheap gate. Your gate should be as tall as your fence and built from a solid frame that won't bend or warp. Use heavy-duty hinges and, most importantly, a goat-proof latch. A simple hook and eye latch won't do. You need something complex, like a 2-step latch or a chain with a carabiner clip that requires more dexterity than a goat's nose can manage. Remember, your fence is only as strong as its weakest point, so make sure that weak point isn't the entrance. Your job isn't over once the last staple is hammered in. A fence is not a set-it-and-forget-it project, especially with goats testing it every single day. You need to make fence inspection a regular chore, just like feeding and watering. Once a week, take a walk along your entire fence line. I call this walking the line. Look for any signs of trouble. Are there any loose or broken wires? Are any staples pulling out of the posts? Is there any place where erosion has created a gap under the fence? Catching these small problems early prevents them from becoming big, goat-sized problems later. Pay special attention to your corner posts and gates. These are the high-traffic, high-stress areas. Check your H-braces to make sure they are still solid and the tension wire is tight. Wiggle your posts to see if any have come loose in the ground. A wobbly post needs to be dug out and reset before it fails completely. Inspect your gate hinges and latches for wear and tear. A goat will work on a loose latch day after day until it finally gives. A little bit of preventative maintenance like tightening a bolt or oiling a hinge can save you a whole lot of trouble. When you do find a weak spot, fix it immediately. Don't say you'll get to it next weekend. A goat's sense for a weakness in the fence is uncanny. If you find a broken wire in your woven fence, you can patch it by weaving in a new piece of wire and using crimping sleeves to secure it. If you have an electric fence, use a fence tester to check for voltage drops. Walk the line and listen for the telltale tick-tick-tick of a short. It's usually caused by a blade of grass or a fallen branch touching the wire. Clearing that debris will bring your fence back to full power. Keeping your fence line clear is also a critical part of long-term maintenance. Weeds, vines, and brush growing up along the fence can cause all sorts of problems. They can hide damage, short out electric fences, and hold moisture against wooden posts, causing them to rot prematurely. A couple of times a year, you'll need to do the dirty job of clearing the fence line with a weed trimmer or mower. Not only does it make your property look better, but it extends the life of your fence and makes your regular inspections much easier. A clean fence line is a healthy fence line. So, we've come to the end of the line. By now you should understand that a goat fence is more than just a suggestion. It's a contract between you and your herd. You provide them with a safe, secure home, and they, in turn, provide you with milk, meat, or just the simple joy of watching them be goats. Building that fence is hard work. It will test your patience and your muscles. But doing it right the first time is one of an essential jobs you can do on your homestead. It's an investment in your peace of mind. Remember the basics we talked about. Your fence needs to be tall, tight, and have small openings. 4 feet is the minimum height, and the wire needs to be stretched taut like a guitar string. Use woven wire with 4x4-inch squares to keep curious heads from getting stuck. Your corner posts are your anchors. Set them deep and brace them well. Don't skimp on these fundamentals. A fence built on a weak foundation is a fence that's destined to fail, and a failed goat fence means you'll be spending your afternoon trying to coax your herd out of your neighbor's prize-winning rose garden. For those of you on a budget in 2025, remember that the cheapest fence isn't always the one with the lowest price tag. A well-built woven wire or multi-strand electric fence that lasts for 20 years is far cheaper than a flimsy fence you have to repair every season and replace every 5 years. Think long-term. Do the dirty work now, and you'll save yourself a ton of money and headaches down the road. Use good materials, don't cut corners on the installation, and you'll build something you can be proud of, something that works. In the end, it all comes down to respect. You have to respect a goat's intelligence, its curiosity, and its incredible ability to find the one flaw in your work. If you build your fence with that respect in mind, you'll succeed. You'll have a secure pasture, a happy herd, and the satisfaction that comes from a job well done. It's a dirty job, building a proper fence, but it's an honest one. And at the end of the day, that's what having a homestead is all about. Now get out there and get to work.